When we pulled into his driveway, my eyes widened at the sight of his house. It was big, much bigger than Honey's. In fact, it was two houses connected by a covered porch. I parked in the shade and walked over to where Macon and Lovey waited. Who lives with you? I asked Macon. What do you mean? My mom and dad and me. But you have two houses. He looked over his shoulder and saw what I was pointing at. He laughed. Nah, man, that's the guest house. Mom says someday the nanny can sleep in there. The nanny? You know, the babysitter for the new baby? I shook my head again. You must be rich. Macon shrugged. I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of folks richer. There's a lot of folks poorer, I thought, but didn't say it out loud. Lovey met my gaze, and we both smirked. Yeah, Macon was rich. Macon knocked his elbow against mine. I'm starving. I know. Mom just went grocery shopping. Let's grab some lunch. With those words, my stomach growled. I was all in. Macon's house was a mansion hidden in the forest. Inside, everything was open with white marble countertops and shiny wooden floors, and it was clean. Nothing was out of place. It even smelled good, like warm laundry. I was instantly jealous of Macon's house. It made me sad to think how dirty Honey's house was. She'd been trying to clean up some, and I was helping, but this morning she went back to her old ways. Macon opened an enormous stainless steel refrigerator. I could only stare in awe as he opened it. Inside it was sparkling clean. The shelves were stocked full of fruit I could recognize, and not all shriveled cartons of milk, orange juice, and cups of yogurt, with the labels neatly facing outward, just like at the grocery store. Macon pulled out a big container of lunch meat and cheese slices. I stepped closer and eyed it carefully as he opened it. All the cheese was fresh, not any mold in sight. I picked up the container of meat and began sniffing. What are you doing? Macon asked, a little offended. Sorry, habit, I guess. Macon gave me a funny look as he put grapes, carrot sticks, and a carton of chocolate milk on the counter. Then he slid plates and cups to us. My stomach rumbled so loud, Lovey turned her head toward me and raised eyebrows. Someone's hungry, she said with a laugh. If only she knew, I thought. I loaded up my plate with piles of everything. I bit into my sandwich, my eyes closed. Everything tasted so good, I thought I'd gone to heaven. I tore into that sandwich. Jake, you act like you're never going to eat again, Lovey said. I poured a glassful of chocolate milk and only shrugged. I made a second sandwich, then Lovey and I carried our plates and followed Macon to the family room. Like the rest of the house, the room was big. I could fit 3 of my lofts into it. Not that I'd trade my loft for any room in the world. I plopped onto one of the beanbag chairs, and Macon handed me a game controller. He turned to Lovey. Do you want to play? Lovey shook her head no and carried her plate to the sofa. Macon sat in the second beanbag chair and turned on the TV. Where's your mom? Asked Lovey. Mom's got to spend a lot of time in bed, Macon explained as he set up the game. She lost 2 other babies and is being really cautious. That's why we came here for the summer. It's quiet. My dad comes down on the weekends. He's hired a lady to come over and clean and shop and make meals. Macon's brows furrowed. He expects me to watch out for her. She relies on me. I get that. I'm supposed to take care of Honey, I said, before biting into my enormous sandwich. But, Macon continued with his mouth full, now that Mom is getting closer to her due date, he wants to find a nurse, too, just in case. My Aunt Sissy is a nurse, Lovey said, popping a grape into her mouth. Or she was. She's retired now, but she used to deliver babies in the hospital. Maybe she'd like to help. It'd be nice to have the nurse on the island, just in case. Sounds good. I'll tell my mom. Lovey leaped from the sofa, calling over her shoulder. I'll write down her phone number for your mother. For the next hour, Macon and I chilled playing video games. We asked Lovey to join us, but she said she didn't play video games. Instead, she paced the room, as restless as an animal in a cage at the zoo. She kept looking at the bookshelves, sighing a lot and loudly. Finally, she slammed a book down on the table. Seriously, guys, how long are we going to sit around doing nothing? Macon and I looked at each other with confusion. This isn't nothing, Macon said, holding the game controller in his hand. Ooh, you missed it, Macon. Totally scored another point. My eyes stayed glued to the screen. I'm so bored, y'all, Lovey complained. We asked you to play the game, too. If you would, then you'd be having fun, too, I replied. Take that, Macon hollered out at the video game. Lovey stood right in front of the screen. Hey, you're in the way, we both yelled. The fun is out there, she pointed toward a window. The island, not stuck inside. Said no kid ever. Macon stood up, trying to get a better view of the television screen. You're weird sometimes. Now could you please move? Lovey rolled her eyes and plopped onto the sofa and started scrolling through her phone. Her last statement echoed in my head, making me feel uneasy. I was supposed to be outside exploring, as Honey would say, but lounging and playing video games was what I'd been missing. I'm going to go back to my Aunt Sissy's house, Lovey announced. Fine, Mason fired back. I shot him a look of disapproval. Don't go, I said to Lovey. Look, just give us 10 more minutes and then we'll go back out. 15 minutes, Macon interjected. Lovey's face brightened at the offer. 10 minutes and it's a deal. But just 1 minute later, the doorbell rang. Macon went to get the door and I grabbed a bag of potato chips. I was putting a handful in my mouth when I froze. In walked Honey carrying a white baker's box wrapped in red ribbon. She stopped, her eyes as wide as two moons, and stared at me. Chapter 10, The Long Dinner. Honey stood as still as a statue, but her gaze moved to the television set with the video game playing, to the table overflowing with food, then back to me. Jake, she said in a shocked voice, what are you doing inside playing video games? I thought you were outdoors with your journal. I haven't seen you for hours. I swallowed hard. The chips felt like sand going down my throat. Macon's mother flowed into the room slowly, all smiles, and extended her hand. Her long gown fluttered around her baby belly as she walked. Hello, welcome. I'm Tessa Simmons. Honey pulled herself upright and smiled back, standing next to Mrs. Simmons' bright floral dress. My grandmother looked old and faded in her tan pants and Turtle Patrol t-shirt. I'm Helen Porter. I live a few houses away from you in the bird's nest. I'm a bit late, but I came to bring you this blueberry pie and formally welcome you to Dewey's Island. How kind of you. Did you bake it yourself? Oh, heavens no, I can't bake worth a lick. I ordered it from town. The ferry brought it over. I sighed in relief for Mrs. Simmons. I didn't want her getting sick from Honey's food. She handed the box to Mrs. Simmons, then turned and gave me the stink eye. She said in that voice that told me I was in big trouble. I'm sorry, but I didn't know my grandson was here. I thought the children were at the nature center. Mrs. Simmons smiled and accepted the gift. The children are welcome here any time. We were worried our Macon would be bored on the island all alone, so we're very happy he's made friends. Honey turned to Mrs. Simmons. I'm sorry to be rude. I'm just as pleased as you are that the children found each other. Summer's all the sweeter shared with friends. It's just that I must bring Jake home now. You see, I don't allow video games. She put her hand at Mrs. Simmons' surprised expression. Not that I mean all houses should have the same rules, but that's mine. She gave me a stern look, and Jake just respected it. He's meant to be outdoors. She looked back at me and pointed at the remnants of my sandwich. I didn't mean for him to eat you out of house and home either. It's too hot outside, I said, and too buggy. It was just this one time we were getting ready to go back out. Excuses. Honey waved her hand for me to come along. I didn't budge. I'm bored. Honey's eyes flashed and she stepped closer to me. Good, she said. Boredom is the fuel of your imagination. I will not allow you to sit indoors, rotting your brain away playing video games. Now come along. You can finish lunch at home. No. Honey's eyes bulged and her mouth slipped open. Jake, come home, she said. I'll make you something to eat. Your food is bad. Honey's face went still. What did you say? A part of me knew I should just stop and apologize, but I felt like a dam of water bursting open. The food in your fridge is moldy, even the cheese. I don't even know what that stuff in all those containers. And there are bugs in the cereal. It's not that I don't want to eat your food, I cried. I can't. I felt my eyes flood but didn't wipe them. I held my hands and fists at my thighs, trying hard not to cry. I don't want to go back to your house. It's dirty and it smells, and you're always in your room. I want to stay here. The room went silent. I stood, stunned that I had just yelled at my grandmother in front of people. From the corner of my eye, I saw Macon's mouth slip open and Lovey shrink into the sofa. When I could look back at my grandmother, I saw the tears had filled her eyes. Mrs. Simmons cleared her throat and stepped closer to Honey. She spoke in a soft voice. At least it sounded soft compared to my shouting. I think you're absolutely right, Helen. These children should be outdoors. Why don't you and I cut ourselves a nice piece of this pie and discuss it? Honey could only offer a watery smile and nod her head. Mrs. Simmons gave the three of us a stern look, and though her voice was calm, we all knew she meant business. Kids, please turn off the games, clean up this room, and sit outside on the porch while Mrs. Potter and I talk in private. Lovey rose from the sofa, her face pale. Jake, you disappointed me, she said. I felt crushed. This wouldn't have happened if I had just listened to Lovey earlier. Boys, your pie is ready, Mrs. Simmons called from the kitchen. Macon and I slunk into the kitchen to collect our plates. I couldn't look at my grandmother. Then we moved out to the porch and nervously shoveled blueberry pie into our mouths. I couldn't taste it. We didn't talk. Instead, we tried to hear the women's voices through the sliding glass door, but the sound of buzzing cicadas in the tall pines drowned out most of the conversation. I could only catch a few words: internet, cell phones, island. When laughter erupted, both Megan and I sighed with relief. I don't know how long they talked, but when they ushered us back inside, I could tell Honey was feeling better. How was the pie? Mrs. Simmons asked kindly. I mumbled a polite response as we stood in front of them. I felt like a criminal in court about to find out his sentence. Helen and I had a lovely chat, Mrs. Simmons began. We both agree that being on the island is a special time for your children, a time to play outdoors. Be creative. And she paused and looked at Macon. Turn off all electronics. What? Macon shrieked. Why are you punishing me? I didn't do anything. It's not a punishment, Mrs. Simmons replied gently. It's an opportunity. Macon scowled. Just because Jake's grandmother doesn't like video games doesn't mean I can't play them. She's not my grandmother. I saw from Mrs. Simmons' face that Macon had gone too far. Well, I'm your mother, and I'm telling you no video games, TV, or electronics, and no phone. Macon stiffened, and worry replaced his anger. But what if you need me for something? I'm supposed to look out for you. Dad said so.